Thanks for checking out this video. Decided to do something a little bit different for a change. I know I had done some videos kind of like this, maybe a year, maybe more ago, where I was going through my collection of Blu-rays and DVDs and being like, here are the wildest films I own. Here are the best films I own. Actually, I don't know if I did best, but, stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to look at a label specifically that I was thinking about recently that does not exist anymore, to my knowledge. That was around for a little bit when I was really into just literally walking into Best Buy, perusing everything that was there when they had a larger selection, much larger selection than what they have now, and just kind of always looking for this label and always being like, if it's on this label, I will try it and I'm just going to buy it straight up. And that is Tokyo Shock. So I'm going to go over my 5 top Tokyo Shock films that I own. And I'm going to do them ranked, basically. I have more than 10. I think I have like 13 or something like that. So I literally did pull them all out, looked at all of them, and kind of considered, which ones I like the most and the least and all that. So I'm just going to do the top 5. So, sitting at number 5, my number 5 favorite Tokyo Shock film that I own, and I don't own all of them, so it's going to be The Machine Girl. This is a type of film that's very out there. It's very wild. Obviously, it's Japanese. All the Tokyo Shock films, I believe, were from Japan. And this one is just one of those totally ridiculous balls-to-the-wall films with human modifications, basically. That was a whole thing. Actually, it might even still be a whole thing. I haven't seen a ton of Japanese films in a while, but some here and there. But they just had this stint of going through very ridiculous stuff and a lot of like machine built into human bodies and like body transformations and just really wild stuff like that. But Machine Girl, I'll read you what it says about it. When she goes after her revenge, she soon finds herself in over her head and minus her left arm. Barely surviving, Amy escapes and seeks out shelter from 2 kindly garage mechanics. They take pity on her, fitting her with a high-powered machine gun where her arm used to be. She then teams up with the chainsaw-wielding mother of her brother's slain friend, and together they unleash an unholy, it literally says unstop, not unstoppable, over-the-top kill fest against the equally creative machinery of their relentless ninja enemies. Ridiculous fun. It's not like an amazing film. It's not like, oh my gosh, the story in this. Obviously, the story's pretty much not really even there. It's about the ridiculousness. It's about the violence. It's about the gore. It's about just having a fun time. So that's why I chose for number 5, Machine Girl. It's a good one. The next one is very much similar in the same vein. This one, I think, goes even harder in that direction with the gore and with the transformations. And it's just wild. And I just love how out there and wild it is. And that is Tokyo Gore Police. Again, basically just copy-paste almost everything I said about Machine Girl, other than the actual synopsis on the back of it. And this one's like very interesting. As much as I like Machine Girl, I think Tokyo Gore Police is even better. That's why it's in my 4 slot. Let me read you a little bit about it. Blood and guts are the ultimate weapon. In the near future, the Tokyo Police Corporation is locked in a bloody war with the Engineers. These genetically modified supercriminals can biofuse their open wounds with weapons, turning self-mutilation into a combat form. Ruka, the daughter of the police chief's murdered right-hand man, is now the top engineer hunter. With cold-blooded efficiency, she cuts through the psychotic engineers and tracks down their home base, a truly bizarre fetish club. Nothing keeps her from her sworn duty, even when she finds out the truth behind her father's death. There is actually a little more story-wise to this one than Machine Girl, which is a very small part of why it's bumped up above Machine Girl, but if this sounds like a wild, fun time, trust me, it totally is. If you can find it, check it out. May even be streaming somewhere. I don't even know. I don't have to look for that because I own these. Now, coming in at number 3, I'm going to go with a film that I know it's gotten another release since on Blu-ray, and I've thought about getting it. I think it was pretty recent, actually, and I forget who put it out. But this one, the first time I saw it, there's pretty much no story to it. If you have a problem with reading subtitles, you can probably still do this film because there's barely any actual dialogue to it, which sounds wild. It's mainly action driven, but it has that kind of like, it has a zombie aspect to it, and that is the film Versus. Ryuhei Kitamura did this one, and he then came over to the United States and did some other films. Like I believe he did Midnight Meat Train was one of them, and he did some other stuff that was good. He's a good filmmaker. But Versus is a lot of fun. Very heavy on the martial arts, so if you like that, that's fun. It is just heavy on martial arts. It's just cool, stylistic fighting with almost no story. Like, as much as I was saying that there was not much story to the last two, there's probably even less story to this one, but there is an interesting concept behind it, which you'll find out when I read it to you. So here we go. Deep within the mysterious forest of resurrection, that's the interesting concept, this spectacular battle between good and evil has gone on since the dawn of time. When prisoner KSC-2303 escapes from maximum security jail, he enters the forest believing it will lead him to a safe haven. Instead, he finds himself a pawn in an endless struggle played out against an ever-changing background across multiple temporal planes of existence. His opponent, a mysterious man who seemingly cannot be killed. The battle to be waged between these warriors, good versus evil, in the pursuit of a beautiful woman who holds the power to grant eternal life. But what prisoner KSC-2303 cannot remember is whether he is the personification of good or the very essence of darkness. It's a wild ride. It's a fun ride. More fun than wild, to be honest. It's really cool. Trust me, the first time I saw this film, I was mesmerized. I couldn't take my eyes off it. Anyone else who's out there who's seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But anyone, if this sounds interesting to you, seek it out. So that's my number 3. Now going to number 2. This is a film that isn't for everyone. It's actually not for a lot of people because it's a lot to handle. This is literally a film that a friend of mine had loaned to me at one point and said, watch this. It's a really good film, but watch it when you're alone and you know there's no chance of anyone walking in while you're watching it. Because if people see you watching this, there will be questions. And that is the film Ichi the Killer. I have reviewed this film, just so people know. I have a review on my channel if you want to seek that out. This is famed Japanese director Takashi Miike's one of his big name films, basically. It is very sadistic. It is very heavy on blood and lots of arterial spray. It is hard to watch at times because there's a lot of kind of torture that goes on in it. But it's also ridiculous and wild and over the top. And the story is actually quite interesting in the film. So this is a film that I won't watch it a lot because it is a lot to handle, but it is still undeniably a very good film and very well done. So let me read to you about this. Welcome to a world where violence is a virtue and depravity is a way of life. This is the underside of Shinjuku and the home of Kakihara, a sadistic Yakuza killer. He relentlessly tears apart the underworld searching for the man who killed his boss. The mastermind behind the plot is Jiji, an ex-cop bent on turning the gangsters of Japan against one another. His trump card is a physically powerful lunatic who is constantly on the verge of snapping. This madman is Ichi the Killer. And between him and Kakihara, the streets will run red with blood. Brought to you by Takashi Miike, the director of Audition and Visitor Q. And if you haven't seen this, but you have seen either Audition or Visitor Q, you know about what you might be in store, what you might be in for, because those are wild films as well, which I do own. I don't think I own, maybe I do own Visitor Q. I don't think I own Visitor Q, but I definitely own Audition. But yeah. This one, again, not for everyone, but if it is something you can handle, definitely worth a watch. Really like it. That's my number 2. And my number 1, I believe this is actually a South Korean film, so I guess Tokyo Shock wasn't just Japanese, although I could be wrong on that. People can correct me. Go ahead. Nicely, you can correct me. And this is one I've actually talked about kind of recently when Uncle Pete and I were doing our year superlatives videos. And this is a film that actually just got a very awesome treatment from Vinegar Syndrome, which I haven't done a review on this, but I will watch it. It's in my stack up here, and I will get to that. But before it was released by Vinegar Syndrome, it was released by Tokyo Shock, and that is Biozombie. This film is legitimately a good story. It is ridiculous, over the top, and funny. And it's unintentionally funny at times, and it's very low budget, but so endearing and charming. This film hits so many wonderful notes. It is so worth watching. I love it. And this version in particular, I'm curious to see how the Vinegar Syndrome one is. The audio is terrible with the actual Japanese subtitles, so it's actually better to watch it dubbed, which is an option on here, and especially because it kind of takes it to that next level of ridiculous comedy, because the dubbing done is so over the top and ridiculous, it has to be heard to be believed. But it's a comedy, like it's a zombie comedy, and it's really well done, and it has a lot of heart to it that you're not expecting, but you do get out of it. So let me read you about Biozombie. Woody and Bee are a pair of average young men working at a CD store. Remember those? They enjoy scamming customers, playing video games, and chasing the beautiful women who hang out around the mall. Also remember those? On one evening, however, the two hit a pedestrian while out on a joyride and end up with a dead body in their trunk. Unfortunately for Woody and Bee, this is just the beginning of their trouble. The dead body was once an employee of a mysterious biochemical company, and it is now infected with a strange formula which transforms the hapless mall goers into an army of blood-hungry zombies. Yeah, such a gem, so wonderful. Glad Vinegar Syndrome grabbed it and gave it a better release. And again, you can look forward to me getting to a review of that at some point. I'm not saying it's like super soon, but I will be doing it. So, yeah, those are all the movies that made my top 5 for the Tokyo Shock label that I own. If you like this type of video and you want me to do some other ones, I could do it for like Arrow or, whatever. I have Anchor Bay, Arrow. I would say Severin and Vinegar Syndrome, but I don't have enough of them, I don't think, at this point. Although, actually, I do have a lot of Vinegar Syndrome, but I haven't seen enough of them. So go ahead and put your ideas down in the comments. Also, do you own any Tokyo Shock films? And if so, what are some of your favorite? Or even if you don't own them, but you've seen them before, what are you really enjoying? So go ahead and put it in the comments. Or if you just want to talk horror. Do me a favor, though, before you're done here, hit subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate that. Also, you can hit the notification bell button, because then you'll know when I'm putting up new videos, which I'm doing 3 a week, which, I think is a good amount, putting in some work. Regardless, thank you for watching this video, and until next time, keep it brutal.